Whether you're hitting the road or kicking back in the cab, it's time to take a load off with Big Rig Banter. Powered by AllTruckJobs.com, your source for finding the trucking jobs drivers really want. Get ready to shift into gear and let the conversations roll.
All right, hello and welcome, truckers. The date is May 6th, and you're listening to the 53rd episode of Big Rig Banter. I'm your co-host, Troy Diffenderfer.
And I'm your favorite co-host, Lene Rule.
And before we get things started, I just wanted to, again, take a minute and give a special shout-out to all the professional drivers out there, especially during this tough time. You're the ones keeping America moving during this challenging time.
And Pilot Flying J wants to say thank you as well. To show their gratitude for all you do, they want to give you more rewards and more points. It's called Push for Points, and it can get you to 4 points faster while you're racking up those hard-earned miles. That's right, you can reach 4 points per gallon after only 6 qualifying fills. Push for Points is available only in the Pilot Flying J app for a limited time only.
And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Here's how it works. Step 1, push the Activate button on the app at the beginning of each month. Step 2, fill your tank with at least 75 gallons of diesel. Step 3, sit back and watch your point balance grow faster than ever before. You'll increase your earning level after each commercial diesel fill over 75 gallons, from 1 to 1.5 to 2 to 2.5, and so on. You'll be earning 4 points per gallon for the rest of the month after 6 qualifying fills.
And what can you do with all of these points? Well, your rig's not the only thing that needs a fill-up, right? When you get hungry or you need a tasty beverage, you can redeem points for in-store savings on the essentials, as well as merchandise for you and your rig. And when you pull in to park for a while, you can redeem points for a reserved parking spot and Wi-Fi credits at participating Pilot and Flying J locations.
And again, from Pilot Flying J, thank you for all you do, drivers, and stay safe on the road. See terms and conditions at pilotflyingj.com/app.
All right, Troy, how are you today? What is this, like week 6 in quarantine?
I know, and this weather's not making it any better. I'm like going crazy in here with all this like raininess. It's gonna rain all day today, and I'm struggling. I can't believe you were so chipper this morning, and I was like not having that.
I woke up wide awake at 7:30. I was like, I'm going for a long walk before the rain comes, and I did. And they've been trying to put like inspirational mural art all throughout the city, so I got to see some of the murals, but they're slowly putting them up, so that's been kind of cool.
Well, I woke up at 8:20, and then I went downstairs and took the dog out, and then stared at my phone for 20 minutes and made coffee. So that was my thrilling morning.
Well, you should have gone for a walk.
I
Tomorrow,
know.
if I wake up early, I'll call you.
No,
Get ready.
no, thank you.
Oh, I was going to say I'm really excited because I don't know if you remember, but a few weeks ago when we did the podcast, I said that I was going to challenge you to a trivia question.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're up for some quarantine trivia.
Of course, but I feel like it's going to be awkward when I nail any question you throw at me, and then like
Yeah.
I'm impossible
I
to
feel
be
that way
stumped.
too.
So let's have
All
at
right,
it.
so my first question
Does there
is...
wait, is there like a category? Do I get any kind of hints? Do I get to phone a
I'm
friend?
getting there. Okay. So this is music related.
Okay.
And I know you're a music buff, but I think this might stump you, but this is the one I'm not so sure. Okay. Released as a single in 1982, A Country Boy Can Survive is a song written and recorded by which American country music artist?
Oh, geez. It's not even multiple choice or anything?
No, it's trivia.
All right. I'm going to go probably with...
Do you know this song?
Oh, yeah, but I'm more of a modern country guy. Like
I know.
Not the Waylon Jennings and Hank Williams Jr. type. But I'm going to go with my first one that came to mind. I'm going to go with Waylon Jennings.
Hank Jr.
Oh, I was close, though. I named him at least, so I'm proud of that. Okay. You got another one?
So I got one more. This is kind of COVID related, which I didn't know this answer either, so I thought it was interesting. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, so the CDC, is headquartered in which United States city?
Ooh, that's a tough one. And
Right?
I'm gonna say Atlanta.
How do you know this? Did you Google it?
I did not. I'm just pretty smart. All right, I'm happy with 1 out of 2, especially with the health-related one. So yeah, I had a feeling it was. I knew it was going to be like Atlanta or Chicago, but I knew it wasn't going to be like New York City or somewhere in the Northeast. But I'm proud of myself for getting that one.
Yeah, me too. That's the one I thought for sure you wouldn't know. But anyway.
Speaking of the CDC, usually Lene and I plan ahead for a lot of these podcast episodes. We have the topic in mind. We are getting these interviews ahead of time, and we have a good idea of what we want to talk about for our next episode. But with all the things going on, we had some different topics lined up for these upcoming episodes, but we felt like we can't ignore the coronavirus and COVID-19 and everything that's going on, and we feel like that's going to be the information that you really care about. So we mentioned the COVID-19 and coronavirus before on an episode not too long ago. We spoke to someone in the industry that owns a company, but we wanted to take a look at, the driver shortage and how COVID's impacting that. So we actually sat down with the owner of a truck driving school who's been in charge of, trying to fill rigs, trying to teach soon-to-be drivers. And I thought it was a really, really interesting interview.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's interesting which trucking schools stayed open and which ones had to close across the country, and just how that's going to affect training drivers and getting positions filled. So I'm really excited to hear this interview.
Yeah, our guest, Fred Hart from CDL Assist, West Virginia, he had a lot of awesome information, so let's give that a listen. All right, I'm here with Fred Hart. He's the owner of CDL Assist West Virginia, and he's also a CDL examiner for the state of West Virginia. Fred, how are you today?
I'm doing okay, thank you.
So, we're talking about COVID and the driver shortage, and, we wanted to speak with someone who represents a lot of the CDL schools around here because we know that those are impacted. We've seen multiple articles about an upcoming driver shortage, or I guess you'd say a continuation of the driver shortage within the next couple months. Where do you think this is stemming from? I know you're seeing it firsthand.
Well, I think you nailed it in the one word, a continuation of the driver shortage. There are, I guess, multiple reasons for that. Since President Trump has been in office, there has been a lower amount of people coming through our program, as well as, in general, CDL testing. It has been on the increase for about a year now. I feel like that part of that is because the economy was doing so good. And what I have seen in the past, what my personal experience is, if there are good jobs that are available other than trucking jobs, people take those jobs. If people in our area, the coal industry is real heavy. If people can get a coal mining job, that's what they'll do. And the economy has been so good that people have avoided the trucking industry because of the availability of other jobs. I feel like another reason for that is there's a shortage because of the retirees. I think that the true trucking blood in America is retiring. They're at that age now where they're getting to a point where they're coming off the road and retiring. And I have one more thing I'd like to add to that, and it's just this generation. I deal with so many younger drivers, so many younger folks trying to get their CDL license, both as an examiner and as a trainer. And boy, oh boy, it amazes me how they just have such little understanding of the industry, of the equipment. They have very little understanding of really how life works, and it's discouraging to see that. So I believe that's a multi-phase or multi-reasons for that shortage to take place.
And have you currently seen a decrease in trucking students? I know you mentioned since Trump was in office and things like that, you've noticed the shortage, but I mean, specifically with the current, obviously the climate and the economy and what's going on with the coronavirus, have you seen a decrease in trucking students or those looking to apply for a CDL?
Well, again, that's a two-phase question. In general, it has been down. Again, because of the Trump administration, I was getting ready to take a different job. I almost didn't go with CDL Assist. Almost put that aside simply because there was so little testing. As a CDL examiner, I'm able to have access to information, I guess, that others wouldn't have. And I just watched and I looked myself to see, how busy our examiners were across the state. And the position that I was being offered, I turned it down simply because I didn't feel like there were enough students trying to come into the field, not enough interest in the trucking industry, and it scared me. But there's, again, with the virus specifically, I think it's just fear. Fear is a huge factor. I believe that as a nation, we have been gripped by fear when it comes to getting out now. I feel like that our students are afraid of being exposed, and I feel like that there's been so much caution that the students have stopped calling. There are some things that we've done to be able to keep the ball rolling, I guess you could say it that way, but fear of the virus, that's definitely a major thing. And then another thing is the job availability. We've had such a decrease in student enrollment. And again, repeating what I said earlier, and I apologize for that, but literally with this generation, if they can get a job working a fast food joint, and they feel like that's sufficient for them, they'd rather do that than get a job that has stability or whatever. And there's so many jobs available. Ultimately, yes, absolutely. And there's still jobs available, even during the COVID-19. The pandemic is not slowing down the jobs to a crawl, I should say, here in the state of West Virginia. They're still available.
That leads me into my next question. If there are students that still need to be trained, I'm sure there's still students out there, why are we seeing so many trucking schools shutting down? Do you think it's more of a mandate thing and more of a coronavirus thing, or do you think it's more on the supply and demand side of there just being too many schools and not enough students to, give these exams?
Well, let me say two things about that. Number one, we were not forced to shut down. As a trucking education center in the state of West Virginia, we were not shut down. It's exactly opposite. We were encouraged to stay open. I immediately began to make phone calls to Charleston and to the folks that run the DMV there and the CDL division there, and they encouraged me to stay in because of the truck driver shortage. I also, the second part of that is a lot of the truck driving schools in our area are tied to the Board of Education or the local education. For example, would be considered VOTEC or that type of thing. And all of those have closed down simply because they are attached with the other school systems, such as, the elementary and secondary education schools, the high schools, that type of thing. And they were forced closed. But as far as independent truck driving schools, I don't think that anyone is doing, any training right now other than there might be one other one in the state that I've heard of that is still in business, but for the most part, everybody has just stopped because of the fear of the virus.
And I know this might be a silly question, but has there been any talk about maybe trying to move some of these teachings online? Obviously, you still need to get in a rig and, get that experience under your belt, but I know with the elementary schools and a lot of the education has moved to online. I know trucking's a different ball game, but have you heard anyone talking or explored that possibility as well?
I read some things last week, and someone sent me some emails about that. The federal the federal people were considering some exemptions and that type of thing, where the administrator of the test did not have to be present. I just thought to myself, that is one of the most absurd things that I've ever heard of in my life. You know, many times, even drivers coming out of 180-day program, 160, 180-day program, many of those, not everyone makes a truck driver, and everyone in the industry understands that. There's a lot of them that, you know, you wish they would never try, but unfortunately they do. And one of the great things about the DMV, and I didn't understand this when I first got in it, but one of the great safety nets for our highways is the DMV, and it keeps people off the road that really they don't need to be behind the wheel. And I feel like that's part of my job is there's just certain people, they don't have the mindset, they don't have the mental capability of driving a big truck, and keeping them from behind the wheel is such an important thing. But yes, certainly.
And just to circle back to the coronavirus, you know, and how it's impacting a lot of things, what kind of health and safety precautions have you guys personally taken at the school to, you know, help prevent the spread of the virus and keep your students at ease during this time?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've done the most obvious. We've sanitized our trucks. I purchased sanitizing material to keep the truck clean, and we do it on a daily basis, sanitizing the trucks. But I've also purchased Purell, the commercial dispensers, just like you'd see in a hospital or whatever, for my vehicles. When you get in there, you know, we encourage that. We also purchased every thermometer we could purchase in Raleigh County, went to every place, bought all of them that we could find, and we used those, give them away for each class until we ran out. And then I purchased some of the thermometers that you use on your forehead so that we could at least get the simple test taken. And, you know, we ask questions. How have you been feeling? You know, do you have any symptoms at all? Mm-hmm. Have you been exposed to anyone who has the COVID-19? We have a questionnaire there for all the applicants as well.
And I just want to go back to something earlier you said, and you're definitely not the first one to say, you know, that a lot of this shortage is coming from, you know, attracting millennials and attracting the younger generation. Maybe give me your elevator pitch. Why should millennials and, you know, the younger generation consider trucking? I know you said they could go out and get a fast food job pretty easily, or something that's going to be close to home, or something simple. Why should this younger generation consider becoming a truck driver?
Well, I tell folks that your CDL license, if you'll guard it, protect it, maintain it, keep up with it, is your golden ticket to a job for as long as you live. There's a tremendous amount of job security that comes with your commercial driver's license. There's a tremendous amount of responsibility, but also there's great privileges to holding that. And that is, you can basically go any state, any town, any city, any location, and find a job that suits you. And it's different for everyone. Some folks like over the road, some folks like dedicated or local runs. But honestly, the sky's the limit. When you hold your CDL license, you've got a good job. You've got a job that will have benefits. You have a job that you don't have to worry about losing. If this pandemic has done anything, it has increased the stability and the job security of those that have a CDL license, no questions asked.
And Fred, I want to kind of wrap things up on a high note. It's something I've been trying to do, especially lately during all the interviews I did. What's one good thing you've seen come from all this? I know it's been tough for everyone out there, especially the trucking industry, but, you know, you're on the front lines there. What's one good thing you've seen coming from all this, you know, turmoil and a lot of the coronavirus stuff going on?
Well, I like to try to see the good in everything, and you know, I think there's more than just one good thing. There's multiple good things, but if I had to put the number one most important good thing, that's what it would be. It's increased the job security of those that hold a commercial driver's license because, the jobs are out there. They're still available, even in the most difficult circumstances. It is just so evident, should be to every American, that there's such a drastic need for drivers and there's such an availability for drivers. The job security is there. And if you would allow me, I had a couple other things that I just see as a tremendous thing, a tremendous result of that.
No, go for it. I think we all need to hear some positive things, especially during this time. You can name as many as you want.
Even if you look at the negative side of it, let's just say that you were laid off, which I don't know of any truck driver that has been, and I'm sure there are, and I'm sure there's families that are in need there. But this has been a time where things needed to slow down for just a while. If you could, catch a break with your family, spend some family time, get some much-needed rest. And I know drivers that are driving the wheels off their vehicles, and they needed this, just time to slow down. And, here's the last thing I'll say. Eventually, this is going to catch up. Eventually, America's going to see, the employers are going to see the need for consistent truck drivers. It's going to lead to increase in pay. It's going to lead to increase in benefits, that type of thing. I feel like in the long term, that give it another 6 months or so, I believe that the truck driving industry is the place where people are going to head to for job security and for good, reliable, dependable, fair pay, and also the benefits that tag along with it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and I think those are all great points and things to look forward to and keep in mind as we're all trying to, navigate this tough situation. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'd just like to add that from my perspective, someone on the beginning or the initial end of the CDL world, I appreciate the long-term drivers, those that have the true grit. And again, I feel like that's missing in the generation that follows you. I just want to express my appreciation for your consistency and steadfastness, the grit that you have to get the job done, to make America what it is. I have so many friends and so many people that I come across that tell me about the need, just mind-blowing, the need of drivers. I had one guy tell me just a couple weeks ago, he says, for every one driver, we've got 96 to 98 loads waiting for them. I thought to myself, that's no way. And he said, absolutely, 96 to 98 loads waiting for every driver. And I know some of you might be asking right now, who is that guy? I need a job. But they're out there. And, I've got one of my dearest friends, just bought his own truck, just become an owner-operator, and he's telling me stories about, just nonstop hauling, and the wheels just continually moving. And I just want to say thank you to all those drivers that have the type of grit to get the job done that America needs. Thank you.
Yeah, I second all of that. Again, truckers out there listening, we really appreciate what you're doing. You truly are keeping America running, and we definitely appreciate all of that. Fred, thank you so much. That's Fred Hart from CDL Assist West Virginia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, awesome interview. Thank you to Fred for making time to chat with us, and thanks for Troy for getting a hold of Fred like that at the last minute. That was awesome.
Yeah, and again, truckers, if any of you are still trying to get your CDL or have just recently gone through the process, we'd love to hear what that's like. Obviously, these are tricky times going on, but feel free to reach out to us and use the hashtag BigRigBanter. We love interacting with everyone, and we want to try and provide as much information as we possibly can.
Yeah, we can always be reached direct message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so be sure to reach out to us. And if you have a free minute while you're traveling, leave us a review and let us know what you think of the podcast. And
I almost forgot, we just released a video not too long ago. Yours truly is highlighting 5 positive things we're seeing in the trucking industry. A lot of the times we're talking about so many negative things going on, especially with everything that's happening, but we wanted to highlight some of the good things that are happening because there are good things happening out there, and we think they deserve some recognition.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Lene, I think that's another one in the books, and I appreciate you recording with me again from afar. I can't wait till we're back actually in the podcast studio across from each other.
I know. And then you can bring me my coffee. And I can make fun of your messy hair.
Can't wait.
All right, we'll get ready for next week's trivia question, too.
I will. 1 for 2 isn't bad, so I'm going to do some studying.
Yeah, that was all right. Okay.
All right, truckers. I'm your co-host, Troy Diffenderfer.
And I'm your favorite co-host, Lene Rule.
And this has been Big Rig Banter.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Big Rig Banter. For your next job, check out alltruckjobs.com, the premier online source for finding the best driver jobs in the country. Browse hundreds of positions by freight or driver type to get back on the road with confidence. Click subscribe to keep the conversations coming. Until next time on Big Rig Banter.